So what if the world's biggest prize for literature went to a guy who writes about the apocalypse? Today, we're going to break down the 2025 Nobel Prize in Literature and its absolutely unconventional winner, an author who says he examines reality to the point of madness.
You know how it is. Every year, the whole literary world is on the edge of its seat, waiting for that call from Stockholm. But this year, wow, the announcement didn't just make waves, it was a full-on shockwave.
I mean, just listen to this citation. Apocalyptic terror. Seriously? Those are not words you typically hear from the Nobel Committee. This isn't your cozy, curl-up-by-the-fire kind of literature. No, this is something else entirely. It's an author who stares right into the abyss and then dares us to look too.
So who is this master of the apocalypse? Look, for a lot of you, the name László Krasznahorkai might not ring a bell. But trust me, in the literary world, this is huge. It's a seismic event. So let's get into it. Who he is, what his deal is, and why this win is such a big deal, especially right now.
All right, first things first. To really get why everyone's talking about this, we have to look at the announcement itself. What makes this no-fail feel so different? Just look at the last couple of years. In 2024, you had Han King with her intense poetic prose. Beautiful. The year before, John Foss, praised for his radical reduction of language, very minimalist. And then, bam, 2025, apocalyptic terror and grotesque excess. It's not just a little different, it's a complete 180. The Nobel Committee is signaling a major shift here towards something much, much darker and more challenging.
And of course, with the Nobel comes a pretty nice payday. We're talking 11 million Swedish kroner, which is about $1 million in US dollars. But really, the money's not the main story. The real prize is the massive global spotlight it's now shining on a truly one-of-a-kind voice in literature. Okay, so let's get into the man himself. Who is the person writing these intense, bleak stories? Because to really understand the books, you've got to understand the world he came from.
Get this. The legendary writer Susan Sontag herself called him the contemporary master of the apocalypse. And you know what? That nickname stuck. Because it just fits so perfectly. It absolutely nails the whole vibe of his work.
He was born in Hungary back in 1954. Just think about that. He was a little kid when the Soviet Union brutally crushed the Hungarian Revolution. He grew up under this heavy blanket of oppression, and he's described it as a place where someone with his kind of sensitivity just couldn't survive. And that feeling, that sense of being trapped, of being an outsider in a world that wants to crush you, that's the fuel for almost everything he writes.
Okay, so we've talked about him, we've talked about his background, but what's it actually like to read one of his books? Well, buckle up. It's an experience. It can be pretty dizzying, honestly, and it all comes down to his sentences.
He's known for this thing called the serpentine sentence. We're talking sentences that are incredibly long, that twist and turn and can literally go on for pages without a single period. His translator has this amazing description for it, a slow lava flow of narrative. And that is the perfect way to put it. It's this thick, unstoppable force that just pulls you under and doesn't let go.
And this isn't just him trying to be fancy. There's a whole philosophy behind it. He actually said that the period, the full stop, isn't for us humans to use. Like, who are we to say something is well and truly over? For him, that's a power that only belongs to God. So his sentences just keep going because he's writing about a world where nothing ever really ends.
Just to give you a feel for it, check this out. This is just a part of one sentence from his first book, Sátántangó. All it's doing is describing a sunrise. It just flows, and you kind of get lost in it. It's breathless, it's a lot, and that's exactly what he wants. He wants you to feel everything happening all at once, without the neat little pauses that periods give us.
So you've got these epic sentences. What are they about? Well, the stories themselves are just as intense. Think desolate, run-down towns in Central Europe. And the people living there? They're all desperately looking for some kind of meaning in a world that feels like it has none.
Let's take his first novel, Sátántangó. Picture this, a village that's literally falling apart. The people there are at the end of their rope. Then this mysterious stranger shows up, and they pour all their hopes into him. Is he here to save them, or is he just a con artist? That question just hangs in the air, driving everyone mad. Oh, and by the way, they made a movie of it, and it's 7 hours long. That's how immersive his worlds are.
Then you've got the Melancholy of resistance. A circus rolls into town, but its main attraction is the dead body of a giant whale. Yeah, you heard that right.
This one weird, bizarre event is enough to completely shatter the town's fragile order, and everything descends into violence and to grab for power. It's this incredible, chilling allegory for how quickly things can fall apart.
And his more recent stuff gets even wilder. His novel Hersht 07769, the entire book is one single sentence. It's about a physics student who is absolutely certain the world is about to collapse, so he starts writing these frantic letters to the German chancellor. And the first line of the book, hope is a mistake. I mean, come on, it doesn't get much more bleak than that.
So, when you kind of zoom out and look at all his books together, you start to see these patterns, right? It's always about people looking for some kind of purpose in a godless world. There are no easy answers, no simple lessons to learn. It's all about absurdity, chaos, and how violence can just explode out of nowhere. And in a way, it's like he's holding up a mirror to all the social and political anxieties we're dealing with today.
Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. Why? Why create art that's so dark and so difficult? What's the point of staring into the abyss?
Well, he actually tells us why himself. He says art isn't supposed to be a self-help book. It's not here to give you a moral compass. For him, art is simply our response. It's humanity's extraordinary response to this feeling that we all have, deep down, the feeling of being completely and utterly lost. And his books? That's his response, totally raw and unfiltered.
So, in the end, this Nobel Prize kind of shoves a really challenging question in our faces. We live in a world that feels pretty chaotic, right? So maybe the best art, the most important art, isn't the stuff that lets us escape. Maybe it's the stuff that forces us to look directly at the chaos and admit that we're confused. And that's the big question he leaves us with. Is there a weird kind of hope in just being that honest? What do you think?